What's up, everybody? Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, and I have some pretty awesome LGSs near me. So, for me being in rural Iowa, I've actually gotten pretty lucky. There are two very active LGSs, and then there are some adjacent ones, and then there's a brand new one I haven't been to yet, so I can withhold my review of that one until later. But I really want to talk about two of them today. But before I do, how many LGSs are in your area? Do you have any LGSs that really stand out as your go-to? Like, this is the one that you absolutely want to go to every single time, whether it builds really good environment or ones that you avoid even. I've never really had a really terrible LGS other than when I worked in politics in North Carolina, near Fayetteville, there was an LGS that was just abysmal that I went to. But then COVID shut down everything, and I never went back to that one. Not like I was going to in the first place after the experience I had. But, going to talk about some LGSs. Lots of ones that I like. So, the first and foremost one, the one that I'm here to talk the most about, and again, none of these are sponsored, none of them know that I'm buttering them up here, is Dark Vassal Gaming. Dark Vassal is a small, LGS in Cedar Falls in Iowa. And they're pretty awesome. They sell their sealed product at straight up, they just sell it at distributor prices. Like they sell it at MSRP. Like, man, it is awesome that they run it like this. Jordan is the owner. He is phenomenal. And this is actually the store where I get 99% of my sealed product from. Like, when I want to get a booster box or I want to pick up a commander deck, I go to Dark Vassal Games. It's also where I get a good amount of my sleeves. Dark Vassal's always done really well by me. Like, they do really good for trading in. The one thing that I wish that they had was a few different, more brands of boxes. I don't really like Ultimate Guard too much. So, and that's the one that they carry currently. So I don't really get those there. And overall, they're just really awesome. I've been there for their Commander days. I haven't been able to make it to a pre-release there yet, but I plan on going there for the Hobbit pre-release. But Dark Vassal Gaming, you guys are awesome, and just wanted to give you that shout out. What makes them really good, though, is they are active in the community whenever there's things like different sort of like Comic-Con style events or like nerd events at either UNI, which is the University of Northern Iowa, or in the local community. They often are there and representing themselves or sponsoring things. I know there's a convention coming up this summer where they're sponsoring a modern tournament, which is pretty cool. And then they actively just do a good job. They have a very active Discord where people can like talk about stuff, trade, and then the one thing that I really, really like. So I know some people would get upset with this because they are collectors, but Dark Vassal points it out straight away, right up front, that when you order a sealed box, they cut the seal on it. And this is to prevent scalpers, right? It is to help the community. Jordan, the owner, and the folks that work there are actively always trying to think of their community first and provide a wonderful and enriching environment for everyone. Overall, just I don't have a bad thing to say. At their old location, the only critique I could have is that the parking situation was a nightmare. But that's like, you can't. So LGSs must exist under one of two problems. It must either be too small inside or not enough parking outside. This is the law when it comes to LGS. But now the current LGS is both got plenty of space and plenty of parking. So, sky's the limit here. They have an active calendar. They run things like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon. I know they've run One Piece before. I've heard that they're going to be setting up stuff for like Digimon. They've got modern events, Two-Headed Giant, all sorts of interesting things coming up for them. And Dark Vassal Gaming is pretty solid. The next one that I want to really talk about is part of a chain, but I've really liked the one that's in our area, and that's Cooley Cards and Gaming, and their location in Cedar Falls. Now, I've never been to any of the other, locations, but let me look at their. It allegedly has a website here, but they predominantly sell. They sell a whole bunch of sports cards, but then they also sell Magic. They have Pokemon there. I believe they have One Piece and a bunch of other stuff. But they are where I go to for singles. So the one downside about Dark Vassal is every time they get singles in, those things are out the door immediately. It is hard for them to keep singles in stock. It's just the way it is. That's honestly a good thing to have happen, right? Really cool, actually. And so then we have Cooley. Cooley has a very large selection of singles, and they can actually rotate them throughout their stores. I've heard that's one of the things they do is rotate throughout the stores. They have locations all across like this area. So there's the one I go to in Cedar Falls. There's one in Cedar Rapids, one in Dubuque. And then they have, I think, 2 in Wisconsin, and 2 or 3 in Wisconsin, and at least 1 in Minnesota. And you can actively just, buy what you want to get there. And the manager at my local one, Seth, he's been a great dude. Always like talking to him about different decks and stuff. I just dig through the $1 to $9 bin like non-stop. You get to keep the hard sleeves too, which is pretty tight, let me tell you. And I'll occasionally pick up sleeves from there and stuff as well. Next, so these are ones that I don't know if you can even. They sell games, but they don't run active events, at least for Magic anymore. And the first and the oldest one in the area, the one that has stood the test of time, is The Core. Now, The Core is predominantly a comic book store. The owner really likes comics. More power to him. It used to have lots of Magic events. It used to run Legacy. It used to have pre-releases. It used to have Commander, drafts. That was the place I used to go initially for things like draft and all of that. And they still do sell Magic cards, but their prices are not as competitive as the other two. Even their singles aren't as competitive in pricing. I do still go there when I want to pick up a board game, because they usually have better selection of board games than anywhere else in the area, because not a whole lot of places in the area sell board games. And then I also get my deck boxes from there, because they are the only LGS in the area that sells Gamegenic, and I really like Gamegenic. I have so many Gamegenic boxes over here. But they don't really run Magic events anymore, so far as I know. I haven't seen one or seen one advertised in a very long time, which really makes me sad, because they used to run pre-release with Two-Headed Giant, and my friend Jason and I used to go as a Two-Headed Giant team, and I think the worst we ever did in a Two-Headed Giant tournament was second. We absolutely clapped people in Two-Headed Giant pre-release. It was not even close. We just absolutely stomped them. Great time. They used to also have a location in a town called Waverly, but that one went out of business, man, when I was real young into Magic. Probably 2002, 2003 is when that store closed. Then we have the one up on the hill, which I believe is called Limited Edition. I don't know if they still run drafts or anything anymore. They used to back in the day. But this again is, so this one is a barbershop, comic book shop, and then also sells Magic on the side. They might still run drafts. I'm not sure. But I've never actually drafted there, nor have I bought cards there. It's up on the hill, which College Hill for you and I. Just not an area I usually go to. The parking is miserable on the hill, so I just have avoided it. And to be honest, when I have Dark Vassal and Cooley, I haven't been forced to branch out too much. And then there's a brand new one that I don't actually know the name of. That just opened a couple months ago that I need to stop by in Waterloo. And Waterloo and Cedar Falls actually are just like one big attached conglomerated cityscape in Iowa. And it's somewhere in there, and I haven't really heard anything about it, so I'll have to check that one out. And that's it for the immediate area. There's always Critical Hit Games down in Iowa City. I used to go there for legacy tournaments back in the day. When it was located in Coralville and then in Iowa City. My friend Mitch has gone there for a CDH tournament not that long ago, so it still exists. But sadly, a whole bunch of game stores have opened and closed in this area. But I think, honestly, with Magic becoming more mainstream with things like Lorcana and One Piece, this is finally the time where we can support multiple local game stores. And I would have never in 1,000 years guessed that the Waterloo Cedar Falls area could support not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 LGSs in a population center of about 125,000 people. That's pretty dang good, if you ask me. And man, I would like to hope that if that's the case and Magic starts growing even bigger because of that, maybe we can bring back formats more modern, bring back standard. I don't think any of the LGSs run standard because standard's dead in the area. And I'd love to bring back Legacy because Legacy just seems to be extinct in all of Iowa, which is very sad because it is my favorite format. But I'm glad that we have some that survived. There are a whole bunch that I recall throughout the years. There were 2 in the malls, at least 2 in the malls that I can remember, which both closed, and one of the malls is now closed and demolished, and the other mall may as well be closed. There was one called Pandora's Box that was by a grocery store. That one lasted the whole of 6 months. It seemed good when it started. That was... If this dates at how long ago, it was when the game Spoils was brand new, and they ran a Spoils tournament. Spoils is a card game that was designed by somebody who used to play Magic, but it doesn't exist anymore as a game. I think my Spoils cards are somewhere over on my shelf. But yeah. Oh, man, so many good memories at all of these LGSs, and finally after our area has been starved of really good stores to go to, really just amazing LGSs, we finally have a point in time where we have these great and wonderful LGSs with great and wonderful communities behind them. Dark Vassal is probably going to be my go-to for years, and when my daughter gets old enough, if Sian wants to learn how to play Magic, I'm probably going to take her to Dark Vassal, because I think it'll still be around at that point in time. I'm going to take her to Dark Vassal to get her first box of sleeves and a starter commander deck or something like that. That's the dream right there, is having these locations, and I know there's some people that get super loyal to one or super loyal to the other, but when I find ones that treat people right, I try to, give as much patronage as I can to both. And so, Cooley and Dark Vassal, I don't know if any of y'all who run those stores are ever going to see this, but if you do, just know that you guys have been an absolutely wonderful addition to the local area. You have been an absolutely wonderful thing for the local Magic the Gathering community, and hell, the local nerd community as a whole. I wish both of your stores absolute wonderful things, and I hope you're around for years to come. I know this seems like one giant advertisement for them, but I really I wanted to talk about LGSs and like how the good ones can really help and spread community. And that's what I think that both Cooley and Dark Vassal can do, is help really build a strong community in this area of Iowa. And that's something I really want to see. But let me know, are there any LGSs that in your area that really, really just hit home for you? The ones that make you feel welcome no matter what? The people that remember you when you come in and ask you how your last pull was when you bought a pack, or they just check in to see how you're doing? If you do, drop it in the comments down below, and we can share in those memories and good feelings together. But as always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.